career or I guess record sales has never been the motive really, but there's a side to me that loves to play a gig, you know, and loves to be on stage and loves to sing almost more than anything in the world, like a show. And all the traveling and everything comes with it becomes invisible because that's so important. And then there's another side of me which is very introvert, very domestic, very much hanging around with family and friends in Iceland and writing songs at night when the other ones are asleep or walking by the ocean. And being the lucky bastard I am, I get to do a bit of both, you know. And it's just a nice balance.
But sort of to the outside, it looks like you had this kind of meteoric rise to fame. Did it feel really difficult? I mean, do you feel that you've always been fighting?
A little bit, but there's been a lot of moments where I could have calmed down and had it all lush and cozy, but I wasn't really interested.
So you kind of made your choice to keep it that way?
I think so.
In Britain, I think the sort of big public perception of you is as this kind of crazy, eccentric character. Is that the same all over the world, or is your image different in different places that you go to?
To tell you the truth, the most eccentric people I've ever met, they come from England. Like people from Oxford that play organs and have butterfly collections and stuff.
Normal.
And they collect watercolour paintings, and do you know what I mean? And I love those people to pieces, you know, and they kind of listen to, you know, Delius and all this gorgeous music, and Benjamin Britten, and kind of, it's, you know, David Bowie's not exactly middle of the road, is he?
What was it that made, because you lived here for, I mean, you live back in Iceland now, but you lived here for a good 4 years, didn't you? What was it that brought you to London, and what did it have to offer you that you couldn't have in Reykjavik?
Well, I always had my diaries to keep me sane. Ish.
As sane as possible.
Ish. And I was never ever going to show him to anyone because that was my private friendship. That when everything collapsed, that was what kept me, you know, going. And then when I was 27, I realized, okay, if you don't show this to the world, you're a coward. So I decided to make my album with my songs, and then I kind of started to do my songs with other people and find sort of several different brands of midwives that would help me, because I knew I couldn't do everything. I could write the tunes or write in the lyrics, but I never been really good with beats, you know, and stuff like this. And it was just a collection of coincidences. I ended up meeting this boy in Los Angeles from Bristol, and he introduced me. As you do. It's one of those, isn't it? When you kind of throw out a question and there you go, huh, here's a question for you. Like,
here's your answer.
Yeah, is that one of those, you know, kind of when you got the guts to ask, you know, and so I just ended up kind of getting to know a lot of people from Bristol for some reason, and moved over here, and I thought it was just going to be one album. And I was just going to do that, go back home and say, okay, you've done this, girl, you've been brave, go back home and continue to have my lush life in Iceland. But I liked it so much here that I stayed for 4 years. And some of my best friends now are actually foreigners.
But you did everything quite fast in your youth, didn't you? I mean, you had a hit LP in Iceland when you were 11 years old, and then at 15 you left home, it's the same age I left home, and then you had a child by the time you were 20. I mean, were you in a real hurry to grow up? Or what was it that was just propelling you all the time?
Yeah. It's a tough one, because you seeing me from the outside, you probably see more of a thread there than I do. It looks quite chaotic from my point of view, I guess. But I guess there's definitely a sense in me that's like a sense of a clock ticking and having so many things to do before you die, you know? But also, it's got a certain sense of, I guess, just going with the flow, you know? And also being terrified of boredom.
Mm.
That's probably a big
motivator.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also not wanting to be accused of being a coward.
So is that the thing? Is that the red rag for Bjork?
I'm actually confessing here my weakness. That's probably my biggest weakness. And like, you're a coward if you stay in Iceland. You have to go out in the big world. All right then.
I'm off. Bags, off you
You're
go.
a coward if you live longer in London, you know. It's like, all right then, and I'm off back home, you know. So yes, challenge, I think.
You're now about to make your acting debut, aren't you, in the new Lars von Trier film? Was that always an ambition? Was it like an obvious next step? What possessed you?
I know. I'm not bragging, but I've got 900,000 acting offers, and I always said no because, sorry, it's just not me, you know. And my greatest love of my life is music, and I've got absolutely no interest in ruining that by not treating that with respect and gratitude.
You talked about finding some midwives for your albums when you were recording and everything. Now, most of us, particularly me, for example, I work to get away from my boyfriends. I go to work so I can get some peace and space around me. But you actually have worked with most of your boyfriends, and I wonder if it didn't get a bit claustrophobic, or if your work is so much an integral part of your life that you need it to take up every aspect of it.
It's not planned. I can tell you that to begin with. Secondly, I never ever wanted a boyfriend. I thought it was
useless.
Yeah, it's only good for playing the drums, you know. It's like, but then it just kind of happens, doesn't it? And it sneaks up from behind, and it's like, I didn't plan this. There's no room for this, you know. And I always find myself in this situation, and you're working like someone who's so obsessed with music like me. I'm like ill. It's like beyond. And then I'm just like kind of in the middle of something really, really enthusiastic. And then love seems to be a separate creature from me. It does its own little things, you know, and I'm like, stop it, you know, and it's not up to me, kind of almost. And then I guess I just kind of fall in love,
and then they muscle their way into the studio, and the next thing you've got a producer and a boyfriend.
Well, but I also want to be very, very, very protective of one thing, that each time I fall in love, it's very, very different from each other. Like, and that's kind of, it always sneaks up from behind. And so each time it's been very, very different. And they all stand for different things in me, and it's not like it's a formula that repeats.
Yeah, no, I know, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Just finally, before you leave me, I can see you very, very clearly as a sort of child, and I can see you very clearly as an old woman, you know, kind of in the wilds of Iceland. But this sort of middle bit, do you find it kind of incongruous? Because I can't imagine a sort of 30-something Bjork.
Yeah. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, because...
I've been doing that all day now, haven't I?
Yeah, I feel very honoured that somebody... honestly, I'm really honoured that people are still so interested in me. I find myself still curious. So I've just been really selfish always, but I've not really gone that much out of my way to communicate. A little bit, though. But I think when I was a kid, and I used to watch my mum, who was then between 20 and 40, and then I would look at my grandmother, who was between 40 and 60, and I just look at my mum because doesn't look very interesting. A lot of fuss about nothing, running around. Oh, he doesn't love me, I don't love him. You know, all these kind of dramas and kind of like and kind of like preparing a graceful life.
Preparing gracefully for sort of old age and tranquility.
It was just a lot of panic about nothing. And I used to look at my gran, who like paints on her own. She goes out in the lava, drinks a bit of red wine and paints. And it's just like, I love my gran. But anyway, and she's like 72 now. And she's like, every time I come, she's like got a completely new star going on in her painting. It's like grows and grows and grows.
She your role model?
Ah, definitely. So I said, okay, I just got to be really good between 20 and 40. It's going to be really difficult. But you can get, it's like I've got 8 years to go now, right? So it's not that far away.
Yeah, so you're nearly there.
I can't wait.
You can almost relax.
Yeah.
Bjork, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. Thank you very, very much. Stay tuned, because after the break we'll be talking to Richard E. Grant about From Swaziland to Swashbuckling. But before you go, to play you into the break, let's have a look at Hunter, Bjork's new single.
I thought I could organize freedom. How Scandinavian of me, and gambling and you sussed it out, didn't you? You could smell it. So you left me on my own to complete the mission. Now I'm leaving it all behind. I'm going hunting. I'm a hunter. I'm a hunter.